Hello, everybody. Welcome to Broadway.com's Live at 5. It is Tuesday, March 5th. It's Fat Tuesday. Happy Fat Tuesday out there if you're celebrating that. And I am Ryan Lee Gilbert.
I literally don't know what that means.
It's like Mardi Gras.
Oh,
Fat Tuesday.
Have fun.
Yes.
So people are drunk?
I hope so, you know? Yeah.
I'm Paul Wontorek.
And we are joined here in the studio by the wonderful Caitlin Gallo.
Aw, thanks, Ryan. Hi, everyone.
And who is our guest today?
We have a very special guest. Constantine Germanacos from ANASTASIA on Broadway is here.
There's a lot of pronunciation in that. I love it.
You're welcome. Super exciting. He plays Gleb in the show, and we will talk all about that and a little bit more. But first, let's talk about today's top 5.
All right, we were up bright and early this morning because the Olivier Award nominations came out.
Did they?
They did. They did.
The Olivier.
Did they
So
ever.
everybody knows what the Olivier Awards are,
Yeah,
of
it's like
course.
London's Tonys.
They're the London. We love to say that. I'm sure they think of the Tonys as the New York Oliviers.
Sure.
It's the highest theater award in London.
Very prestigious.
And it's a big deal. And there are a lot of great Americans.
Yeah.
And
No, yeah.
we're not just interested in the Americans, but
No, we do
it's
a lot
kind
of
of
trading.
the people you know. Anyway, first of all, the awards are happening April 7th. Jason Manford, I don't know him. He's a comedian, right?
I don't. I don't know
Seems
either.
charming.
I think he
The quote
hosted last
is-
year.
Is
He's
he
hosting.
Okay.
He's the host. And so I want to talk about some of these categories because it's really interesting. First of all, Kelly O'Hara, congratulations. You're about to open in Kiss Me Kate, and you were nominated for The King and I, a role that you won a Tony Award for. Did you know that? Ken Watanabe and Ruthie Ann Miles also. Ruthie Ann Miles, of course, also won a Tony Award for her role. They were all nominated for The King and I. Patti LuPone is nominated for Company. Adrienne Warren, who will be coming to Broadway in the fall, playing Tina Turner in Tina, also nominated. Congratulations to all of them. Come From Away.
That was the big.
Come From Away had a very big, moment. They got 9 nominations.
9.
It just opened like last month. Right?
Yeah, very.
It's new to the London
Yep.
scene, and so did the gender-blind staging of Company that Patti LuPone is starring in. And Matthew Lopez is fantastic. I'm obsessed. The Inheritance, the new epic drama you're going to love whenever they bring it to Broadway, and it better be soon.
Yes,
received 8 nominations, which was big showing. But I want to look at a couple categories. So the MasterCard. They all have a lot of the categories have sponsors.
MasterCard.
MasterCard paid for this. MasterCard Best New Musical category is Come From Away, Fun Home,
new to London.
Tina, the Tina Turner musical, and Six, which is a show I'm dying to see.
Same.
Have you heard about this one?
Same.
I'm
It's about the 6
dying
wives
to
of
see
Henry
this.
VIII, and it's like they're like a girl. It's like the Spice Girls.
Oh, amazing.
Jerry Mitchell's
Yes.
obsessed with it.
Sold.
Jerry Mitchell posts about it like on Instagram weekly.
That's
like,
right. I do.
Yes,
Yes.
it's full out
Okay.
and all that.
Right.
Anyway, Sweat. I also want to say Sweat got
loved
nominated.
Sweat,
We love Sweat. And the Lehman trilogy, which is about the Lehman brothers.
Right.
This is an interesting play because it's coming actually to the Park Avenue Armory next month. This month, March 22nd, it starts, and this is Sam Mendes directed it. And the 3 actors are all Broadway vets, but they're Brits. Adam Godley, Ben Miles, Simon Russell Beale. They're all coming to the New York production. They were all nominated together.
Oh, like in
Like
the
the Matilda
same...
Girls.
Oh, like the Matilda Girls.
Like the Billy Elliots. The Matilda Girls got a special one, didn't they?
Yeah.
I
Did,
forgot.
yes.
Also, I want to give a shout out to Kyle Soler, who is a fantastic American actor nominated for The Inheritance. So hopefully when that show comes here, he will also be in it. I'm obsessed. Sharon Clark is nominated for Carolina Change, Rosalie Craig for Company, Kelly O'Hara, Adrienne Warren. It's a lot. It's a lot. All the queens from Six are nominated together.
Yes,
they do that a lot there.
They do.
Share the trophy, ladies.
Absolutely.
Anyway, it's a lot. Richard Fleishman.
Yes.
Nominated. He's great.
Incredible.
In Company.
Incredible.
He was on Broadway and Ghost. Anyway, it's all Olivier's all
Congrats
the time.
to all the nominees.
And get ready because we're going to be talking a lot about awards every day on this show because we're about to hit awards season.
The time.
Yeah. All right. One of my favorite news segments of the day, we're going to talk about Magic Mike the Musical.
Yes. Magic Mike the Musical. It's going to be playing a pre-Broadway engagement at Boston's Colonial Theater later this year, November 30th, and it will play through January 5th, 2020. They are holding auditions. They need triple threats. True triple threats is how they describe it. You need to be a phenomenal actor, dancer, and singer. They need men between the ages of 18 and 30 to be a part of this production.
30?
18 to 30. Yes, second wind.
Why is 30 the cutoff?
I don't know.
Maybe they are.
I don't
sorry,
know.
go
I
on.
mean, it's all right. Here are a few other things. You need to be in excellent physical shape, of course. This is Magic Mike we're talking about. They will
It's
hold.
not the full Monty.
No. They ask if you're going to send in videos, do not be nude. They don't want none of that.
Don't show the full Monty. Wait,
Don't
actually, the
show.
tapes all just have to come here, right? We're
So
just
you
to send
can
them to Live at 5.
Yes, send them
We're gonna
here
go through
first.
them.
We'll screen them, and then we'll send them where they need to go. No, they will hold in-person callbacks here in New York City. But if you're going to submit yourself, you must do this by March 17th. You got to sing a song, a pop,
What's the
a rock
rush?
song. I don't know.
Oh,
They
I
got to
guess it's
cast
happening.
this
Okay.
thing. Yeah. They want to see you dance contemporary or hip hop. Show off any special skills you have. And once again, no nudity, headshot, resume. They need to know your height and weight, all of that. If you don't know about Magic Mike the Musical, it's set before both of the movies. This is when Mike Lane, the Channing Tatum character, leaves college, gets swept up into dancing, really enjoys it, has to break the news to his dad and his girlfriend, but realize, life's a journey.
And they strip.
They strip.
More
There's lots
importantly,
of
they
stripping
strip.
and dancing in Florida. The big people behind this, Trip Cullman directing, Tom Kitt and Brian Yorkie are doing the music, and Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa writing the book with Camille A. Brown doing the incredible strippy choreography. So,
And don't think by disobeying any of those rules, like the nudity
That
one,
you'll
you're going to
set
get
yourself
extra
out.
special treatment.
No.
No nudity.
No, this is professional.
Just sing and dance and
Yeah.
do that.
Be a true triple
Absolutely.
threat.
It's a Broadway musical.
Pretty.
All right, speaking of Broadway musicals, this beloved television show is being made into a musical. I think it is. Multiple headlines said
What's
that.
with the giggles?
Beloved. I didn't know it was Beloved. this
Nashville.
show. Nashville.
Not the Robert Altman movie, the TV show Nashville.
With Connie Britton.
Connie
who
Britton.
is Beloved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you
She's
calm
beloved.
down. You get hooked on a lot of things.
Connie Britton?
Let's
She's
not get into
a star.
that. So they're going to make a musical. Where they said, the lead producer Scott Dillman said, we're writing an original story with entirely original music written by major Nashville. I don't understand what it has to do with Nashville then. It's just a musical set in Nashville.
Yeah, but
yes,
it's
and she's
but
like
in,
a country artist.
Also in the show Nashville, it all had original songs
No, I
within
know.
the show.
But so it's not
written.
based on anything specific that
I
ever
don't
happened
think
on
so.
Nashville.
Oh, I don't know about
But it's
that.
about, what isn't it about a young
Rain-
singer
yeah.
and
it was
a,
about an
it's all about
I know.
Eve set in Nashville.
Yes.
Yes.
Right? And then it
In
went
the
off
country
that.
music
I saw like
scene.
the first episode.
Yes.
But a lot of Broadway people were in it, like Will Chase.
Oh, yeah,
who is
absolutely. Laura Benanti.
currently
Laura
in Kiss
Benanti.
Me Kate. Laura Benanti, Caldine Massey, they were all in it. So
Yeah.
who knows what this will be? But it'll be interesting. There hasn't really been a country musical in a while.
I was going to say, like, Bright Star had, like, elements of bluegrass and country. But, yeah, no, a straight-up
maybe
country
it's
music.
time.
Yeah, I think it
It's
is.
time.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, and speaking of award season, these three fabulous people are going to be getting Drama Desk Awards this year. Drama League Awards.
Drama
I'm so sorry.
League, the 2019 Drama League Awards. It is their 85th annual ceremony. It's happening at the Marriott Marquis in Times Square on May 17th. Nominations, the full nominations will be announced on April 17th. But here's what we know. Kelly O'Hara, just talking about, got an Olivier nomination. She's opening in Kiss Me Kate soon. She will be getting the Distinguished Achievement in Musical Theater Award. Alex Timbers, who is about to open with Beetlejuice here on Broadway, and then he's got Moulin Rouge coming later. He will be honored with the Founders Award for Excellence in Directing. And Taylor Mack, Pulitzer finalist, who will be, once again, Gary, is beginning previews March 9th. He will be receiving the Unique Contribution to the Theater Award. Very cool. All fantastic people, all very deserving of these honors. The Drama League Awards, they're the oldest honors in America for this category. Isn't that? Yeah, 85th. Very cool. Congratulations to the honorees.
All right, and last but certainly not least, we got some news right as Live at 5 was starting about some new casting.
Yes, so unfortunately, if you were waiting for Uzo Aduba
I was.
to come back to the stage, she obviously got her start on Broadway, and then she has had a huge moment happening
Emmys.
thanks to
Orange is the New
Orange
Black.
is the New Black.
Thank you. Orange is the New Black. She was supposed to come back in a new play called Tony Stone, but it's not happening anymore. Obie winner April Mathis has taken on the title role in Tony Stone, which is about the first woman to play professional baseball as part of the Negro League.
Yes.
Sports icon. So Pat McKinnon's directing, Camille Brown's choreographing. It starts May 23rd. The show is still happening. Uzo Aduba had to exit due to scheduling conflict. So
It's the last season, Orange is the New Black.
I know.
Yeah, so she's
But so
probably
they
busy.
wrapped. So it's
Oh,
not
did
that's
they
not the conflict.
Oh,
There must be
okay.
a different conflict.
TBD.
Come back to the five and dime, Uzo Aduba,
Yeah.
Aduba. We want to see you on stage again. Thank you for laughing at that.
And some really cool things on the site. Kyle Seelig and Erica Henningsen are leading a concert of Sondheim's Saturday night
like
at
one of his
Second
first
Stage.
musicals,
One of his
yeah.
absolutely. Photos from Camelot at the Lincoln Center Theater. There was an Ink press event that's coming up soon that we did. Ain't No Mo extends ahead of its first preview at the Public, and Blacks, but it's spelled BLKS, as announced full casting at the MCC Theater.
Okay,
so lots
Ryan.
of cool things.
I'm out.
Thank you very much, Paul. Enjoy. Caitlin, why don't you tell us about today's guest?
I would love to. Constantine Germanacos is currently starring as Gleb in Anastasia. He originated the parts of Tsar Nicholas II and Count Ippolitova. He's going to show you how to pronounce that at the Hartford stage, and then on the Broadway stage. He was previously in Broadway's Evita, and other favorite shows include Light at the Piazza, Unsinkable Molly Brown, My Fair Lady, Les Mis, and performing at the Sydney Opera House with one of our favorite people, Kristen Chenoweth. You can follow him on Instagram at Constantine Roman. Please leave all of your questions that you have down in the comments, and we will get to as many as you can. And welcome, Ryan and Constantine.
Welcome, Constantine.
Thank you.
Hello, how are you, sir?
Great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Constantine Roman is the handle. Roman is your dog. Is
It
that
is.
right?
Good job.
Thank you.
You
Yes.
did some research.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
These are Hungarian Vizsla.
Hungarian Vizsla.
Yeah, they're sporting dogs.
Oh, okay. All right. Very cool. Well, we'll talk about Roman a little bit more in a little bit, but you were in Anastasia on Broadway.
Yes.
You are playing Gleb in
I
the
am.
production, which is a role you understudied,
Mm-hmm.
correct? Tell me how, and you have been involved with Anastasia since Hartford, as Caitlin said. What has this Anastasia journey been like for you?
It has been a journey, Ryan. And especially since we got our closing notice,
Right.
I keep thinking back to the very, first steps back in Hartford. And it really has been 3 years of my life. And
Yeah.
that's feels like a kind of an amazing chapter ending, but it's been a very fruitful one. I was kind of a late addition at every step of the process. So I was one of the last actors brought in for Hartford. I was one of the last actors brought in for Broadway. And then they approached me totally out of the blue. I left the show in July on my own accord to go back to school and pursue a degree that I'd put on hold at Parsons. And in November, I think it was like 3 days after Thanksgiving, I got a call at 11 in the morning from my agent saying, and I hadn't auditioned or anything since July, so it had been 4 or 5 months, and she said, I have an offer for you. And I said, oh my goodness, for what? And I thought the call was I was either going to get dropped from my agents because I wasn't auditioning, or it was an offer. And I said, what's the offer for, Nicole? And she said, it's for Gleb. And I said, where? Gleb in Antarctica? Like, what Gleb? What are you talking about? Is it for like a week? She said, no, it's for Gleb on Broadway for a 6-month contract. And it literally was like a leading role on Broadway fell into my lap.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there was no audition. And it's been incredible.
I
It
bet.
really has been incredible.
I bet.
Yeah.
And you've got incredible people over there with you right now. I mean, Vicki Lewis and John Bolton and Christy, of course, Cody Simpson,
Penny Fuller. Yep.
What's it like to be so yes, the show is closing on March 31st at the Broadhurst Theater, but an incredible time to go see it right now with this cast.
is.
What's it like over at the theater right now?
It feels like every performance is happening with full presence and
Yeah.
cherishing of the moment, because we know that our performances are numbered. So the energy seems really up, and the connectedness between the ensemble and the principals, and just everyone's really like trying with newfound relish to tell this story
Sure.
and connect to the audiences. And the audiences, I think, feel that, so they give it back to us. It's such a strong cast right now. I mean, Christy, John, and I are, from the original Hartford
Sure.
cast. But everyone is just fantastic. Cody is perfect for the role. He's so charismatic. I got to watch it once before going in when Max was playing Gleb, and I saw Cody as well, and he's just perfect for Dimitri. And Penny is lovely, and we speak Greek. She knows 3 or 4 phrases in
Right.
Greek. So at random moments in the show, she'll say whatever phrase she knows in Greek.
Right.
But it's amazing, and I just adore Christy. She's really my primary scene partner in the show.
Certainly.
And she's remarkable. Every show feels like she's doing it for the first time, and neither of us quite know what we're going to do with the scene, but we just kind of feed off each other, and it just feels very spontaneous and
Yeah.
and real, genuine.
Right. And since getting that call and coming back and starring as Gleb on, are the plans to go back to school again, or are you going to sort of stick around for a little while longer this time?
I did tell my agents, I said, I definitely have gotten the bug back again. But I think for me, I do best when I am also pursuing something else.
Certainly,
Because the
yeah.
stakes perhaps aren't as high.
Mhm.
So I give better auditions, and I'm just more grounded in my life overall. So I think I will go back to school and continue auditioning
Yeah.
for the right project.
Absolutely.
For sure, yeah.
Absolutely. I've seen you in your playbill. You give shout outs to family. You have got family in Greece, England, and San Francisco.
Yes.
So you are a worldly man. Tell me a little bit where we're born and where life took you. What all this home and family traveling come from?
Yeah. Well, I was born in Greece.
Okay.
And I was raised there. My dad is Greek and British. And I was born on a very small island, like 12,000 people in the middle of the Aegean Sea in Greece. And my mom is American, not Greek at all, from San Francisco, like
Okay.
5th generation Jewish. And so from the time I was 6 months, we would go back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so interesting because there was no musical theater, no exposure to theater or training for theater in Greece as a kid. But I kind of got my fix in the exposure to it in the summer when we'd go to San Francisco, and I went to ACT and took classes,
Got
and I'd
it.
go to theater camp, and I'd see whatever touring shows were going through San Francisco. So, and then I moved to New York for school when I was 18, so I've been here for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And
Just a little bit.
Just a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah, of course.
But yeah, so that's kind of the international background.
Yeah. And first of all, which one's your favorite
Of all the places?
of all the places? That
I
you've
think,
been?
well, I originated Count Ippolitov, who has the little solo Stay I Pray You in Anastasia, and it's all about leaving his homeland. So I connect that to Greece. I think Greece
Certainly,
feels,
yeah.
My name is so Greek, people think I'm 100%, 150% Greek.
That's right.
My name-
Caitlin came in and said, "Very Greek."
My name might as well my name might as well just
Real
be
thing
Greece
happened.
Greek. I am from Greece. That's my name. But yeah, so I think I think of my homeland as Greece, and it's the place that's furthest and hardest to get
Yeah.
to. So I don't get to go as often as I do to San Francisco or
Sure.
or England. But yeah, and I think that's why they assigned that song to me early in Hartford on the second day. And that was actually the asides for all the male ensemble to sing Stay I Pray You. And I think perhaps they just sensed my connection to it and understanding of what to do with the song, because it's kind of folky and has that kind of Russian Greek lilt to it musically. So they kind of asked me if I wanted to sing it, and I just immediately connected with that.
Yeah, absolutely. You've played something like 6 different characters, and you've got so
Characters
many
in the
different.
show.
And Broadway Box did a great thing where you could see all of your costumes from
Yes,
all
that's
of those
right.
characters
That was
that you've
so fun,
played.
yeah.
Which costume is your favorite?
The Tsar by far.
It is.
The Tsar
it is
by
a
far.
look. It is
It
a
is a
mood.
look.
Absolutely.
And I remember going for that first costume fitting before Hartford, and I put on those pants and the silk damask jacket with all the epaulets and the medals, and I was like, "This is the real
And that's
deal."
the one that was tailored to within an inch of your
Within
life.
an inch of my life, and they kept saying, "Do you want to let it out?" I said, "Oh no, don't you dare bring that up again."
Absolutely.
I will modify my everything for this to fit into this.
And
Yeah.
was performing always going to be the path for you? Is that something you knew you wanted to do early and stuck with it?
Definitely. From the time I was 5 or 6, I would, try and steal attention away from my little brother and always performing. And then I finally had an outlet, in my early teens with summer camp. And then I went to Manhattan School of Music here in the city. And that was definitely always the goal. But ironically, at least the Broadway shows I've booked have always been when I've been pursuing something else.
Yeah.
So I think for me, because I tend to psych myself out often for auditions. I always give my best work when it's almost like I have something else going on as well. I know that it's like all the eggs aren't in one basket.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So they always tell you, don't have a plan B. If you have a plan B, do that. But I think it's been really good for me to clearly, be in New York for theater, but to also just kind of cultivate other areas of my...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I know we're going to start taking some questions from the people that are
great.
watching. But you made your Broadway debut in Evita.
Yes.
What do you remember about that experience of making your Broadway debut?
Ricky Martin.
Yeah, I get it. Yep, 2 words. Ricky Martin.
Yeah, 2 words.
Yes.
That was incredible because
Yeah.
that happened... I think I'd had like 5 or 6 callbacks for... What was that Maury Yeston musical that was off Broadway? Something with Death Takes a Holiday. Maybe?
Oh, okay. Right. Yep.
And I
yep.
didn't book it. And I was kind of like, I don't know if this is going to happen. And Evita came within a week, and I thought, I am never going to book Evita. And I had 5 callbacks in the span of a week, just 1 week, and I booked it. Like, it was
Wow.
so easy and streamlined. And what I remember most about that was it was such an incredible cast. Rob Ashford and Michael Grandage just put together, and Telsey put together just the most loving people,
Yeah.
gracious people, the veterans were real veterans and took care of the newbies, the debuters. And I think the story has so much heart and emotion to it. When a story has a lot of emotion and heart and moments of tragedy, I think a cast really bonds because you get to cry and be emotional on stage, and you get to really open your hearts out, which I think is a similar occurrence in Anastasia.
Absolutely.
And that, I think, both shows have almost colored the way a cast forms their friendships.
Yeah.
Because it has a lot of pathos and heart in it, and how can you not, connect
Right.
with each other?
It reminds you of the uniqueness of theater as well.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
very, it's the special thing.
And
that-
both shows really have wear their heart on the sleeve. There's no arcness or jadedness or
Right. Pessimism. To them.
yeah, they're
right.
just very earnest, both shows.
Absolutely.
So I love that about both of them. Yeah.
Absolutely. Caitlin, what would our viewers like to know from Constantine?
All right, we have some really great questions. This one from Kurt was one of my favorites. He says, what was the first time that you got the bug, and what lead role throughout your entire career from drama camp on was your own personal breakthrough kind of role?
Wow, that is such a good question. Well, when did I know? When my mom got me little, those nose masks that you'd put on, like they were dragon or pig noses. They're like little masks.
Where it's just the string that goes around.
She
Yeah.
got me like a kit of those, and I just didn't stop performing. So I must have been. That's like when I started performing. So that's when I knew. That's when I knew that, maths or medicine or law wasn't for me, but I was going to be a performer. And I would recruit in our little Greek island village, like the whole neighborhood to put on puppet shows and shows. So that's when I knew. And the breakthrough role, I would say, was Fabrizio in Light in the Piazza, because it's just such a well-written role. And it was one of the earlier roles I did earlier in my career. But I think Gleb, honestly, because I never thought I was a Gleb. I have always been kind of the ingenue, and clearly I'm transitioning in terms of my age, but I never tapped into that. And, Fabrizio and Freddie Einsford Hill and Marius, those were more the roles that I would go up for. And even I remember in Hartford, they said I might be understudying Dimitri, but they would determine that when we got there. And I didn't end up, but that's what they thought of me as,
Yeah,
even just
right.
3 years ago. So the fact that I got to play this role that is such a departure for me, but now just feels like the perfect fit, and I can tap into an entirely different part of myself. And go through that every show has been such a treat.
How exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tina wants to know, do you have a favorite scene in Anastasia right now, or a favorite moment from the show?
Yeah, well, my two favorite scenes are my 2 scenes with Christy.
Sure.
I would say between the 2, it depends on the night, because the last scene is totally cathartic and dramatic and feels almost operatic in scale. It's Gleb's breakdown and kind of his moment of stepping into himself and figuring out what type of man he will be, whether he will follow blindly someone else's orders or follow his conscience. Or my other favorite scene is the first scene where he meets her and feels that connection with her. I think that is because the last scene vocally is more arduous and challenging. So the first scene I can really just kind of click in and connect with Christy
Yeah.
and play the scene.
Right. Just
Yeah.
enjoy the moment.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
And I think we have time for one
For
more.
one more?
question. Yeah.
All right. What was it like for you to come back to the show? The show is so much about family. Kind of what is the family like backstage, and what is your experience like in and out of the family throughout the process.
Yeah,
Was
that's
there a
such
fresh set of eyes that you came when you came back with?
Completely, yes, because like I said, I got the call during my finals week, so I've been pulling
Oh,
all-nighters.
dear.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I was up till 5 a.m. the day before I got the offer, the day of
But
the
I
offer.
thought it was a delirious phone call.
Yes, it was totally. That's why I couldn't believe that this was happening. But I think that it was so fascinating to go from like a design, because I'm studying interior design. It was so fascinating to go from clearly another creative form and modality, but just something much more visual
Using
and
a
not
different
performing.
part of the brain, yeah.
Yeah, and then to step back into the show. Well, first of all, half the cast was different, was new, so
right.
that was lovely to get to meet them. Just really appreciative and grateful. And, I've been doing this now for quite a while, and to get this break, it doesn't happen very often, to get to, be given a lead role contract on Broadway when you've been more of a supporting, ensemble actor who covers. So I think I pinch myself every day. I really can't wait to do the show. The show's over, the curtain comes down, I'm like, when's the next show? What can I try out, tomorrow? What new things?
Yeah.
So I'm just really grateful.
And I think that refreshing energy certainly plays into the audience as well.
Yeah,
Like you
maybe.
can tell when you're all enjoying yourselves
Yeah, absolutely.
up there.
For sure.
It's,
yeah.
Well, it's wonderful to have you back
Thank
in the
you.
show. It's so great talking with
Yeah,
you.
you too.
Make sure you go see Anastasia before March 31st at Broadway's Broadhurst Theater. Remind them again where they can follow you or keep track of your adventures.
At Constantine Roman on Instagram.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
Come back
you, Ryan
anytime and
Caitlin.
chat with
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you.
Caitlin, why don't you take us out?
All right. Thank you all so much for joining us today. You can listen to this interview and so many others by searching #Live at5 anywhere you listen to your podcast. Join us tomorrow as we are joined by Nick Adams and former Gleb, Max von Essen, as they are in town from the Falsettos tour.